העליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונת בלילות. הלב יחזור ויענה, הלב יגייר לגנות. לזכור שיר יום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני. זמר לשמך היום, זמר לשמך היום. שמחתני אדוני בפועלך, מעשה ידיך עונה.
That was a ukulele. Let's just make sure we're on live. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
We can do better than that.
Yeah.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. That's it.
I am Cantor Arlene Frank. This is Mike Frank. And Bruce Chorus is helping out tonight. And Leslie Kramer is helping out tonight from the Federation, Buffalo Jewish Federation. Let's raise the roof. Yeah. Rabbi is on a little vacation. God bless, and we will keep this Ruach, the Spirit, up tonight for Shabbat, to glorify and sanctify our Shabbat together. I'm so happy so many of you are here for our Park and Pray Shabbat services. Kyle, would you do that again past the camera? No one will believe me. Go ahead, go right past the camera. That really happened. And it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yep, this is Park and Pray, so all kinds of vehicles show up, right? So I would like to welcome Bruce Chorus, our temple president. He has a little welcoming for us and a little bit of an announcement for us. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is great to see so many people here tonight. I love this thing. We're having a ball, and it's just nice to see everyone enjoying our Shir Shalom Shabbats and being with everyone. And it's nice that we were able to not just sit in the cars, but get out the car, sit. We have a little schmoozing, all of that. That being said, Funny Bruce is going to take a step back, and Serious Bruce is going to make a rare appearance here. So we got a little loosey-goosey last week, and I thought it's a good time just to reiterate how we do this, make sure everyone is on the same page. As you know, we have said many times that we will always act with caution and put your safety first. Since we started doing these park and prays, we have repeatedly said how important it is that everyone obeys safety protocols. Last week, unfortunately, a number of people were made uncomfortable by the actions of a few. So tonight's a good time just to reiterate our guidelines, make sure everyone is aware of them, and act accordingly. First, as you all know, bring a mask. Everyone needs a mask. When you're sitting in your car or your designated seating area, you do not have to leave the mask on, but it is encouraged. And most of you do that. Most of you keep your masks on when you're sitting, and we appreciate that. If you walk around to socialize, we're Jews, we schmooze. If you walk around to socialize with others, or if someone approaches you, your mask must be worn. And even then, please try to maintain some social distancing, please. Speaking of your chairs, the chairs are to the left of your car. No chairs can be moved unless that is with the permission of Joanne or myself. We're able to accommodate you, but just check with us first before you do. We always want to make sure social distance is maintained, safety is followed. Okay, this is the serious Bruce part. I don't like to say this, but I will. If we have a complaint or we witness an issue, there will be a warning. One warning. If there is a second incident, we will have to inform you that you're not allowed to leave your car. I don't want to do that. Hopefully we won't have to. These services are important to all of us. That is why it is so important that we always act accordingly and think of our fellow congregants. Thank you for your cooperation, and as I've said so many times, thank you for your support and your patience during this process. That's it for Serious Bruce. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
So we have funny Bruce and serious Bruce. I like both of them. So Bruce, you stay up, and we would like to call up Leslie Kramer to help with the leading of the candlelight, the Friday night candle blessings, and also for the Friday night Kiddush. The candles are on page 120, and the Kiddush is on page 123, and we will help her with all of this. And thank you so much, Leslie. What happened to your foot? A twist. Sorry.
Thank you. This is such an honor. Okay, so
Yeah, you do that. I'll do the props.
okay,
There's a book.
okay. We're doing the candles.
And we'll
Right.
sing with you. Everyone will sing with you.
Ready?
Putting her on the spot.
Yeah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadliknei shel shalom.
That's it.
Awesome.
Okay.
So,
And page 123 for the Friday night Kiddush.
You do the long one. I will join you. By the way, in case you haven't noticed, the numbers on. Ready?
yeah.
Okay. Everyone. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu b'shabbat kodsho v'ahav ratzon hinkilanu zikaron l'maaseh bereshit kivu yom tehillah l'mikra'ei kodesh zefer l'tziat Mitzrayim Kivanu v'charta Yotanu kidashta Mikol hamim B'shabbat kodshcha B'yahava uv'ratzon Hinatanu Baruch atah Adonai Mipadesh Hashabbat. Amen. L'chaim. Oops, I spilled the wine. As the rabbi says, we're doing the services virtually. We'll have a virtual Kiddush. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Leslie. And again, thank you for being here with us tonight. Perfect.
Thank you so much. We have a reading on page 127. Anyone who has their books. If you don't have a book with you, you can just listen closely and enjoy it. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. We turn to page 138 for Lecha Dodi. We'll be doing verse 1 and verse 9. When we get to verse 9, I will try to take my hands off the ukulele and I'll say, go like this, meaning that we will rise and we'll face the entrance here. Maybe a car will show up right when we're staring at them. It always happens. Let's see. La 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 dodi, la 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 la, la 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 shama, and next shama, next la 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 dodi, la 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 la, la la la. La 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 145. Those of us with see to read, or you can listen closely. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. If you'd like to remain standing, if you are able, we'll go right to the Baruch on page 146. One, two, three. La la la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Sing with me. La la la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la. Baruch Hu et Adonai, Baruch Adonai, La la la, la 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 la, la 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 la. La la la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Instead of a reading, we're going to do a meditation by Jeffrey Klepper called Open Up Our Eyes, a prelude to the Shema. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. We will know that you are one. Try with him. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are. We will know that you are one. Page 152. The Shema. 2, 3, 4. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 as we turn to page 154 for the Ve'ahavta. Please join with me. Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levovecha, ובכל נפשך, ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה, אשר אלוהים לצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבדיך, ודיברתם בשבתך ובביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבת על מזוזות ביתך, ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני Adonai Elohim, Asher, it's in the back seat. Asher hoseiתי אתכם בארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. It's time for the song. All right. I need to stall for poor Michael. He forgot his drum, and he was really looking forward to playing it. So what should we stall about? Let's think. Okay, how far away are we from Rosh Hashanah? Who knows the days? Can we number the days? Huh? Not yet? How about in weeks? 45 days. Okay, absolutely. Thank you. 45 days. I'm wondering, in your minds, what you do to prepare for Rosh Hashanah and for Yom Kippur in these days to come. Oh, Mike, your poor paper clip. Well, your clothesline clips. All right, here we go with Micha Mocha. This is Mike Frank. Anybody doesn't know, he's my husband. Well, they don't. Not everybody might not know that we're married. On Facebook, we're not married. It's pending. So I'm afraid to say yes, I'm married because it's going to say that I'm married, and people are going to congratulate me or something. So it's like, how many years we married, Mike?
100.
100. So we are going to do a silent Amidah tonight. So you may rise if you are able to. And the pages are 164 through 180. If you don't have a Siddur, do not worry about it. Just look at those trees, look at the sky, look at the setting sun. Think about the beauty of the world. Here we are in our parking lot, and it's just splendid. A few words to our God, to nature, to our family and friends, to our souls. You may be seated when you're finished.
Shalom bimrumo, uyase shalom aleinu. Shalom bimrumo, uyase shalom aleinu. Shalom bimrumo, uyase shalom aleinu. Yase shalom, yase shalom, shalom aleinu. Shalom bimroa, uyase shalom It's fine.
before we invite Leslie up, we are going to hear the Mishaberach list for this week, and I will invite you to pronounce the names of anyone that you are thinking of that you know is in need of healing, whether of body, mind, or spirit, especially in these very, very challenging days. Right now in our hearts, we are thinking of Bruce and Cindy Baum, Paul Burkow, Sheila Chateau, Oliver Scott Homburger, Myra Horowitz, Jerry Liederman, Rob Liederman, Jennifer Millett, Fern Middleman, David Radlin, Joni Schwartz, James Stevenson, Gershom ben Myra, Tinok ben Rivka, Levi ben Gedalia, Gershon ben Shlomo, Dina Leah, bat Miriam. Please raise your hands if you need to. Thinking of someone. Yes, thank you. Far too many names. From one end of the parking lot to the other end. And it saddens me. We have to get to better health. We have to get to healing. All of us, our friends, our loved ones, friends in our community, people we know in this country. Ruth Bader Ginsburg's name was mentioned. Let's turn to page 371 for the chanting of the Mishaberach. with great delight, a Sabbath delight, I would like to call up Leslie Kramer. And your bio is in my phone that's now recording this event. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself first, in case there's anyone in this parking lot that doesn't know you that well
It's
yet.
wonderful. Thank you so much, Arlene.
You're welcome.
Shabbat Shalom. It's wonderful to be here. I'm Leslie Kramer. I am a longtime Buffalonian, born and bred, and I am a member of Temple Beth Tzedek. I'm very thrilled to be here tonight, and I'm the president of the Buffalo Jewish Federation. So I am here tonight with a special thank you to your rabbi, Alex, for inviting me. My husband Jim and I are so happy to be here and experience your Park and Pray Shabbat service that we have not been able to come to yet. So this is really a delight. It's great to be here among so many friends, including Cantor Arlene and Mike and Bruce Corse and the board of directors and Joanne Marchese and so many of you who I've known for years and have even traveled to Israel with. I also wanted to acknowledge Rob and Shira Goldberg, who are here to support both Congregation Shir Shalom and me, so I'm really appreciative of them being here. This week's Parsha is Ekev, and it's really chock full of amazing things, including the Shema. This is where we get the Shema in this week's Parsha, and the Haftarah. So it's got a lot going on, but I'm really focusing on on something specific today. We're hearing in Ekev, we're hearing the final words from Moses as he prepares the people for their final steps in a 40-year trek. It's his final speech to the Israelites just before they enter the Promised Land, which we read the beginning of this speech in last week's Parsha, Ve'etchanan. Here in Ekev, Moses recaps the trials and sins during the 40 years of wandering the desert. He shares that they did bad things like build a golden calf, but he says that they will be blessed by the land that is flowing with milk and honey, saying, you will fulfill the mitzvot God commands, and God will destroy your enemies, make you fertile, and make your land fertile of crops. In preparation for this Devar Torah, I read and listened to several commentary all the way from Chabad.org to Rabbi Jonathan Sachs's Covenant and Conversation, and even to some Divrei Torah that were written by some of my colleagues on the National Women's Philanthropy Board. Several sources interpret Moses' speech as saying, if you fulfill God's commandments, then God will bless the Israelites with miracles. If, then. But looking at the word Ekev, for which this Parsha is named, I'm intrigued by another way to read this. The very beginning of the Parsha says, Yihyeh Ekev, it will be, or it will happen that. Ekev can mean if something is done, then something will happen, but it also can mean because something is done, something is going to happen. And actually, Bruce was doing this before when he was talking about the rules and being respectful here in the synagogue. He said if we are able to maintain our respect for the rules, then we will all be here and feel comfortable. So I was thinking about that, Bruce. And as a parent, we say, if you do your schoolwork, if you prepare, then you will succeed later in life. There's incentive there. However, if a parent says, because you will do your work and prepare, you will succeed later in life, here the belief in the child's ability and conviction to fulfill the task is apparent. That is, it will be inevitable, not conditional, because that child innately knows on his or her own what must be done. So what has happened in this instance? In this famous speech, was God projecting confidence in God's people or concerned that they would mess up, as they've done in the desert so many times? Was God threatening by warning, if then? Or was God saying, I know you will do this, and I'm giving you confidence to do this? I think God does both. God recognizes that within the Israelite people, there will be almost two sets of different groups of people, or maybe even more. But some will need the if-then, the conditional, and some will just do. They'll already have the understanding and the direction, the self-motivation to follow God's commandments in the land of Israel. In the first several lines of the Parsha, it's written, and it will be because you heed these ordinances and keep them and perform them, that the Lord your God will keep for you the covenant and the kindness that he swore to your forefathers. But later, there's the warning. If you don't, then God will forsake you. If you follow God's commandments, then God will provide for you. We know people like this. We know our own children with different needs, to be praised, to be encouraged by the parents saying, I have faith in you, I know you'll do the right thing. But some don't behave from that place. So for them, the conditional is necessary. If you don't do such and such, you won't be rewarded, for instance. So let's go with this for a minute. Because I think the same applies to this community. Some in this community kind of need the conditional, if, then, but some just do. Fast forward to today. Over the past 5 months, the world has faced unprecedented challenges with the coronavirus. And so has our Jewish community. Here in the Buffalo Jewish community, I believe that we've mostly come together, and I'm so proud of our Buffalo Jewish Federation-led weekly gatherings of community leaders with which Alex, Arlene, and Bruce have regularly participated in. And I'm proud of the assistance we've been able to provide with the applications for PPPs and for guidance on strategic planning. And I'm so proud of our ability to pivot, our Center for Jewish Engagement and Learning, to provide quality, meaningful, and engaging programs for all ages, from PJ Library families to wise aging women's discussions. In fact, last night, Jim and I sat on the grass at Delaware Park at a CGEL organized Pride meetup. It was so nice to sit among friends. I also am taking a quick commercial break because it was sort of on this theme. I want to make sure that you all stay tuned for information about the Buffalo Jewish Federation annual campaign Kickoff. It's on September 23rd. It's going to be amazing, fun, and unlike any other event you've ever experienced, so we look forward to you joining us then. But getting back to you, I have been blown away by what your congregation here at Congregation Shir Shalom has been doing. In the two categories of children I just described, the I know you will group and the if you do this then that will happen group, CSS is surely an I know you will group, and synagogue and congregation and community. Just as our ancestors entered the land of Israel, throughout the ages we Jews have strived to fulfill God's commandments under changing circumstances. In this day of COVID, Shir Shalom exemplifies our ability to adapt to the needs of our community right now. You have adapted, as witnessed right here, where we're having a Shabbat service in your synagogue parking lot. What an accessible and creative way to continue what you've done for years in this building behind me. In every generation, there are those whose practice becomes the new frontier, and then it becomes the new norm. In times of prosperity, such as the mid-20th century, our American Jewish community adapted from the days when we lived in the old country, wherever that might have been. My grandparents, growing up in the shtetl of Sokolivka in the Ukraine, surely did not have a spectacular building like this that was the spiritual and cultural center for its congregants. They certainly didn't have JCCs or even a Jewish Federation. These phenomena developed in the New World, here in America, when our immigrant parents and grandparents. The form of prayer and synagogue that most of us grew up with was that generation's answer to the need to fulfill God's commandments in the time of here and now, here in America. In times of difficulty or threat, we've adapted too. Several examples come to mind. The synagogues in Europe from the Middle Ages that had no exterior adornment or identification, as the community didn't want to bring attention to their house of prayer to people outside their community. Sorry. And I remember just other examples, like when I went to summer camp and Shabbat services were not in a sanctuary, but they were on logs lined up in a field facing the lake, where we listened to the loons on the lake and other wildlife. And we can all think about the famous photos of Israeli soldiers during the Six-Day War or Yom Kippur War, where they're praying in the woods, fully equipped with all that they needed for their prayers. We adapt. And here we find ourselves adapting again. During COVID, these established practices just won't work now. We can't use this beautiful building behind us as we did just 5 months ago. So here, you've not only reached out, but you've reached your community. You're not just adapting, but you're beginning to define what our strong, committed Jewish community and synagogue life might look like in the future. And you're doing it because you already know what's needed of your congregation. There's no conditional with this congregation. I get your emails. I'm amazed by what's happening. Shavetta's chicken barbecues, fish fries, concerts, joke of the day, poem of the week, park and pray, and your plans for high holiday services at the drive-in. That is adaptation and creativity and making Judaism accessible in the here and now. What you are doing is exactly what our ancestors have been doing for millennia. You're building community and you're fulfilling God's commandments in a manner that fits yours and fits all of our circumstances. As Moses stands with the people at the entrance to their new lives in their land, he threatens, but he inspires. Beware, he's saying, do what is right. Know that, like the manna God gave you in the desert, the food will not be enough to sustain you. Man does not live on bread alone. This famous line comes from Kickoff, when that line is spoken by Moses. Pursue God's commandments, for through that, you will have what else you need to sustain you as a people, in addition to the material, in addition to the food. Right here at Congregation Shir Shalom, you're doing that with joy, with humor, and adaptation to the real challenges we're facing today. So I commend your leadership here, and I commend each of you for seeking that sustenance, for providing opportunity to each other and to the community to attain that material and spiritual sustenance. It's your spirit, your love for each other and your congregation that energizes you. And I wish you continued success, continued health, and continued passion to keep providing this as we move forward together in what will certainly be a new frontier. Shabbat Shalom.
Beautiful. I wish I could give you a hug. I have to give you a big virtual hug, and everyone, please, let's wave those flags. Just beautiful, stunning. Thank you, Leslie. I invite you now to rise, turn to page 586 for the Elena. Aleinu nishabia lakarako latit idulam yatse brishi shalosanu kigoye haratzot elosavanu kemesh bechol adama shalosam elkeinu kahem begobadenu kekol hamonam ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 591. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. You may be seated. This week, we are observing the Shiva of Barbara Shapiro and Wolf Tomback. We're observing Shiloshim for Merrill Burkow, Marvin Gross, Dr. Henley Horowitz, Joseph Kregel, Patricia Munter, Ellen Premack, and Erwin Rovner. We're observing Yahrzeit for Max Alderman, George Alenick, Minnie Becker, Lillian Brody, Eva Kahn, Estelle Engel, Daniel Epter, Estelle Edelson, Irving Fadden, Hannah Pfefferberg, Arthur Feinberg, Sam Ferris, Max Philip, Friedman, Martha Berg, Marcel Gutnick, Stephen Ira Haber, Mildred Gordon Hannaford, Robert Abraham Kaiser, Jack Landau, Susanna Lynn, Aaron Lipman, Marvin Mednick, Blanche Meister, Michael Organic, Simon Perrell, David Pohl, Gerard Rosen, Paula Rosner, Mary Schmidtman, William Siegel, Bernard Silverman, Alan A. Singer, Patricia M. Snyder, David L. Stein, Marvin Steinberg, David Wyckoff, and Julian M. Youd. I'd like to know if there are any names that you'd like to pronounce today for a yard site that you are observing or someone who is deep in your thoughts today. Please rise for the mourner's Kaddish, which can be found on page 598. For those whose custom it is to rise, please do. Yittadam v'yittadash shemei Rava, v'yalma divra kirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chaye tachol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'bizman kari, v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rava v'barach le'olam lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalav shmei kudusha b'richu. Le'ela v'kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nefemata damiram v'yama v'imru amen. Yehi shlama raba min shamaya v'chayin aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'imromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. Please be seated. Well, is funny Bruce or serious Bruce coming up for the announcements?
You decide. Sometimes you can't tell. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, again. Special thank you to Leslie Schumann Kramer, President of the Buffalo Jewish Federation, for celebrating Shabbat with us this evening. And thank you. Thank you for all those kind words about what we are doing here. I've said this numerous times. There are so many synagogues and other organizations that have been looking at this COVID and going, oh, what we're missing out on. Oh, the things we can't do. And every week we sit here and we go, okay, what can we do? How can we take advantage of this to provide new things for you, our members, and meet your needs in whatever way possible? And thank you for recognizing that. Thank you so much. Thank you, of course, to Cantor Frank and special guest musician Michael Frank. They're married, you know. For a lovely service in honor of Shabbat. Very nice music and everything tonight. It was always a pleasure. And as I've said many times, our Shabbat services are so important. Those of you that are able to come in person, those of you that are watching out there on the screen, Shabbat Shalom to you as well. And it's such an important thing that we can continue this. As you can see, it's getting darker. So we've now moved the service time starting tonight to 7 o'clock. As of now, that will be the time through the month of August. If we need to adjust it later in the month, we will. But as of now, plan on 7 o'clock. We want to make sure that we're not pulling out of here when it's pitch black in the parking lot, especially when we have our farewell greeters. We want to thank Robin Raphael and Al Gellan for being tonight's farewell greeters. So wave as you go by. Be very careful with Robin. She just had some surgery. Don't bump her hip, please. Tomorrow morning we have virtual offerings. Torah study 9 a.m., the Shabbat morning service, and virtual Kiddush luncheon are at 11. Both of them are available via Zoom. Hey, we had a fish fry yesterday. Rob and Shira bought some fish. A lot of you did. Where's Paul? I can't see you, Paul. You're behind my car. Paul got here right on time for his fish. So we want to thank those of you. Larry and Gail volunteered. We had a lot of people who were either volunteering or supporting it. It was great. We need these, Steve and Hillary were here. We need these fundraisers. As you know, we don't have bingo, so thank you for your support. As I mentioned, we did it a little differently. It was a gefilte fish fry. We hope you enjoyed that. We are back with another Shavetas this coming week. So if you haven't done your pre-order yet, get on the website and do that. There's always a benefit to doing a pre-order. And again, these fundraisers are so important to us. We thank you very much for your support. We are sorry to inform you that the virtual concert and meet and greet with Beth Stiles tomorrow night is postponed. Beth is living in an area with widespread power outages due to the hurricane. And for some reason, she's not willing to crank up her cell phone and do a concert for us. So we will push that back into a later date, probably after the high holidays. Thank you for your understanding. Speaking of the high holidays, as Leslie mentioned, we are the cool shul. We are doing Rosh Hashanah morning and Yom Kippur morning services at the Transit Drive-In. So we're going to do a little test drive for all of that. Get it? Drive-in test drive. Saturday, August 22nd at 11 a.m., we are doing a Shabbat morning service test drive at the Transit Drive-In to check it out, work out the logistics, work out the kinks, all of that. Please RSVP with Joanne if you're planning to take part in that. And also, please continue, those of you that have been doing so, and those of you that haven't, please RSVP with her for Friday night services. We need to plan accordingly. If we get more cars than usual, we need to spread out a little bit more. We have to set out chairs. There's security cautions and all of that. So please make sure you continue to RSVP for that. We also know that many of you are deeply concerned about our troubled nation and would like to participate in some meaningful actions for change while staying safe during COVID-19. To meet this need, to continue Tikkun Olam, our Social Action Committee, Chris and Julia Cohan and Deb Cohn and Rick Mahler are over there, Rick Mahler. Our Social Action team is offering you every voice, every vote. This is a nonpartisan national effort to get out the vote and to re-register voters who are the victim of voter suppression. You write the postcards from the safety of your own home. If you would like to join, wow, we're over 50 people doing this. Wow. If you would like to join the more than 50 people who are doing this, please call the temple office, or Deb, wave your hand. Deb is down at this end, and Chris and Julia are over there. If you want to chat with one of them on the way out, they can fill you in on this. Thank you guys for doing that. I mentioned high holidays coming up. Beginning later this month, late in August, you will be able to borrow a set of high holiday prayer books so that you can follow along with the services, whether you do it virtually or whether you come to the Transit Drive-In. Obviously, we're at the Drive-In. We're not going to be in a position to hand out books and collect them and everything. So make sure that if you want a set of high holiday prayer books, we'll make arrangements for you to pick them up. We'll have some prayer book pickup days here at the temple. And you can keep them until after the high holidays and return them at that time. All sorts of stuff coming up. We're going to continue to keep you informed of everything. Thank you again for being part of the Shir Shalom family and for your patience and understanding. If you need us for anything, we're here for you. Call Joanne, call myself, call the cantor, call the rabbi, but not for the next 2 weeks. Let him enjoy his vacation. But the cantor, Joanne, and I are here for you to meet your needs in any way possible. Thank you again, and Shabbat Shalom. Oh, do you want me to stay? Oh, I got to do that, but not till after the song.
How about after Adon Olam?
Works for me.
Okay. So I don't know if who listens to the one calls that are make every Friday. There's a one call.
Oh yes, you did today's.
Yeah. So I'll just reiterate what was on that one call. It's a chance for you to hear Beth Stiles. who will be coming again after the High Holy Days. If you look her up on YouTube, the song Eitz Chaim Hi, the Tree of Life. There's another song on there, Grateful. There's a wonderful Don Olam by her. She's collaborated with Neshama Karabach and Magda Fishman and just lots of important folk in the Jewish world. She's a producer, an artist, a singer, songwriter. She's the whole ball of wax, and she's amazing, and her voice is beautiful. So if you have a chance, look her up on YouTube so you get excited for when we reschedule this concert. We're going to end with a Don Olam on page 625. Again, it's that old, new, old one. Here we go. Adon Olam, Hashem Allah, B'Terem Kol, Yitzini from B'Etz Hasam, B'Hefzol Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Yikra. Everyone! La 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, Leslie, do you want to come up and help us with the motzi? How's your ankle? Your ankle?
Make her do more walking
Yeah.
on her boot.
Well, that was the plan. If your ankle hurts, don't. Okay.
We're warm and welcoming, and we're making her walk around on a broken ankle. We let you touch our food.
Sorry.
Oh, no, it's good.
Want to hold it up? Sure. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Drive carefully heading out.
T'tei avon, Shabbat shalom, and may you go from strength to strength.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Yeah, it'll be on the website. Yeah, all you have to do is click on the link on the Yeah, you can watch the recording. Yeah, thank you for doing this.
Just go to the top part.
Yeah,
Go to the second page.
right. Right there.
Yeah. 2, 3, 4. Shabbos, 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 Shabbos. So say jeden Shabbos. Shabbos, so say, Shabbos, so say. Shabbos like the ganze Welt. Shabbos, so say, Shabbos, so say. Shabbos like the ganze Welt. Here we go. Let's do a shalom. Let's do shalom. Shalom on this page. Shalom. Shalom,